The Detroit Lions are coming off of their best season in franchise history. They won 14 games and won 2 playoff games, more than they've ever won in their entire franchise. It's hard to believe, but it's true. As a Detroit Lions fan, we've gone through a lot of ups and downs. 99% of it has been downs, and we finally got a great season. Now, how are we going to follow up last season with this season? In this video, I'm going to go through why every NFL team now fears the Detroit Lions and what the Detroit Lions were able to do to cause this to happen. I'm going to be talking about why every NFL team should fear the Detroit Lions, and we're going to go through what happened that is going to cause this fear and why the Detroit Lions should be Super Bowl favorites this year. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. Now, going into the offseason, most Detroit Lions fans could agree the 3 main positions that we were focusing on was cornerback, edge rusher, and offensive line depth. You could argue wide receiver. You could even argue safety depth. I don't think any of those were as much of a need as the cornerback spot was. Edge rusher. We have Aiden Hutchinson now. You can argue, okay, we should have gotten another star alongside Hutch. Guess what? James Houston's coming back off an injury. Josh Pascal is going into year 3 getting ready to break out. John Kaminsky can play anywhere on that D-line and is a great depth piece rotational guy. And you have guys like Marcus Davenport and Matthew Betts who are just waiting to break out and could be an edge rusher too if they break out and become what they could be. Now you take a look at that cornerback spot. Last year, Cam Sutton, Jerry Jacobs, Kindle Vildor. That was your starting 3 corners essentially. Not the best, all right? Now let's fast forward. 2024, season's over. Heartbreaker to the 49ers, which, by the way, I think that loss is just going to fuel the Lions to more Super Bowls in the future. You lock up Jared Goff. You lock up Amon-Ra. You lock up Penei Sewell. You lock up your main 3 guys. Hutch is going to be next. Hopefully Jameson Williams as well if he breaks out this year as we all kind of expect him to. You got those 3 guys down. Goff got paid. He deserved every dime, every penny, every single penny. Goff got paid. He deserved every single penny. Now you go into free agency, and you know that you need to upgrade that corner spot. Carlton Davis was the big corner that we went in and we spent some money on, and he also took a pay cut, by the way, if you didn't know, of like $4 or $5 million a year, which is just makes me love him even more. Carlton Davis was a top 5 to 10 corner about 2 years ago. Now he's coming off of a below average year for him, I guess you could say, like just kind of an off year, I guess. And if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe the Bucs run a lot of zone coverage. Carlton Davis is not a zone coverage guy. He's a man coverage guy. That's how he rolls. And the Detroit Lions are a primarily 90% of the time man coverage team. He's going to flourish in this defensive system. Aaron Glenn is going to make him feel at home. And he's going to be the leader. He's going to have to be relied on. And we need him to step up and make plays when he can. And he is that kind of guy. He did that in Tampa Bay. Anyone from Tampa knows that he's a dog. Now, some people will say, oh, he's coming off of kind of a bad year. Like I said, he's in a bad system that he doesn't fit in. And now he's coming to Detroit where he's going to be our corner. He's going to be the cornerback 1 here, and he's going to be in a system that he's much more comfortable in. And once he kind of gets back in his groove, he can get back to a top 5 to 10 corner in the league. Amik Robertson was the other corner we went out and got from the Raiders. And out of all the guys we added this offseason, including the draft, I think Amik Robertson is my favorite and the one that I am most excited for. This is a guy who has just been waiting and dying for an opportunity. It's finally come. He's coming to Detroit. He was very undervalued, unappreciated in Las Vegas, and now he's finally going to get an opportunity to show what he can be in the secondary. And I think that, all the stuff he said about how, the second he got to Detroit, how he was going to help us win a Super Bowl and how he just cannot, be more appreciative of the opportunity here in Detroit and how he loves the city so much and how we got a dog in him just makes me love him even more. And then you got guys like Max Crosby, who, by the way, Max, if by week 8 the edge rusher spot isn't working out alongside Hutch, be ready to pack your bags and come here because we're going to be trading for you at the trade deadline. I'm just saying that, all right? You're going to be Detroit Lion if the edge rusher spot is still a weakness by midway through the year. Anyway, even Max Crosby came out and said the Detroit Lions got a dog in Amik Robertson. That should tell you something. Any Raiders fan that I've spoken to has said how much he was underappreciated, undervalued in Vegas, and how he's just waiting to have that big breakout year. Even though he had a really good year last year, if you went back and watched some of that film and looked at those stats, you could tell that he was a huge impact player, and I cannot wait to watch. He's just an insane athlete, knows how to play the game, and has the perfect culture fit, probably arguably the best culture fit on this team. Now you fast forward to the NFL draft just, a couple weeks ago now. Terrion Arnold was the first selection, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I mentioned this in a previous video. I wasn't originally super happy with this pick. I'm going to explain why. We were at pick 24. We traded up. We gave up a third rounder. I didn't like that. To move up 5 spots, I didn't like giving up a third round pick because I thought that with Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid, and Terrion on the board, I thought that you could at least get one of those 3, if not 2 or 3 of them. Like, I thought that all 3 could probably be there at 29. However, looking back in hindsight, that was not the case. The Green Bay Packers were actually targeting, from the rumors are that the Green Bay Packers were actually targeting. The rumors are that the Green Bay Packers were actually targeting Terrion Arnold at pick 25. And what does Brad Holmes do? He moves 1 spot in front of him, kind of like what he did last year with Brian Branch, and he snags Terrion Arnold from the Packers. Packers end up taking some tackle from Arizona, and there was also news that the Raiders were basically at a coin flip decision of whether they want to take Terrion Arnold or Brock Bowers, and I don't understand why the hell the Raiders took Brock Bowers when they literally just took Matthew Meyer last year in basically the first round. That just made no sense to me. But we get Terrion Arnold at pick 24. You get it. You take him from the Packers. Not only that, but you got the best overall corner in this draft. When you look at stats, you look at impact, and what he did at Bama. We know those Bama boys are different, and you compare him to the other guys that I was talking about earlier. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I think, has a high ceiling, but I think Terrion's is higher. I think that Kool-Aid's floor is a little higher than what Terrion's is. I think Terrion has a really low floor, but he has the highest ceiling, arguably, in the draft. You look at Nate Wiggins, I think his ceiling's very high, but I think not quite as high as Terrion, and I think that his floor is honestly a little lower than Terrion as well, if I'm being honest. You look at Quinion Mitchell, I think his ceiling is maybe 1% higher than Terrion's, but I think his floor is a lot lower, and he's also not going to be as much of a day 1 impact. He's going to take 2 to 3 years to develop because he's coming from a lower competition at Toledo, whereas Terrion's coming from Bama. He's going to be ready to go day 1, and he is going to end up being the better player, I think, and he's going to end up being the better pick. Ennis Rakestraw Jr. in the 2nd round. This was a bit of a surpriser. I don't think a lot of Lions fans saw this coming. I was very happy with this when we got him because positional value, it means a lot to me. Look at Terrion Arnold. He was projected to go top 15. You get him at 24. Rakestraw, projected late 1st, early 2nd round pick. You get him almost 3rd round. Now, I know projections don't mean much, but they kind of do when you talk about value of getting players. You look at Brian Branch. He should have been a 1st round pick. We got him in the 2nd round. That's a steal. Absolute steal. Monroe St. Brown should have been top 10 pick. We got him in the 4th round. That's what I'm kind of going with here. Rakestraw is going to be a cornerback 2 for us throughout the foreseeable future. He could even take Terrion's spot because I think his ceiling is also very high. Maybe not as high as Arnold's, but I think he is ready to go day 1 as well. I think that his ceiling is extremely high, and I think that he's going to be a great player. This year, he's probably going to be a corner 3 or 4. He could develop into a 2 or 3 by the end of the year. More than likely, he's just going to kind of get rotational sets and kind of learn that defense, and then by year 2 and 3, he will be a starter on this team, and then him and Arnold will be our 2 cornerbacks for the foreseeable future for the next 5-6 years, and that is what matters to me. We now have depth. We arguably have the best depth at all positions in the NFL. Cornerback is probably top 3 to 5. When you look at depth, talent-wise, probably top 10. You look at the defense as a whole, I'd say right now top 14. I think by the end of the year, it's going to be top 10. Playoff time will be top 8. To go along with the number 1 offense just makes you more excited. Rakestraw's a dog, and the fact that he has that chip on his shoulder because he knew he should have been a late 1st, early 2nd round pick. Now he's got a chip on his shoulder. That's only going to make him better. It's only going to make him want to be better, and he wants to be in Detroit. I know some people didn't think that. Trust me. He's extremely excited. He even said that. He was just very disappointed that he didn't go higher. So that's a lot of money that he lost out on. And he's grateful to be here in Detroit, and he's ready to prove his point. And that's what makes me excited because he's a lockdown corner. Needs to get a little bit better ball skills. That's easy to develop. That's easy stuff. You practice. You go practice with the Monron, you'll have some of the best hands on the team. You know what I mean? He's a good all-around corner. Both are insane run stoppers, by the way, and both are insane coverage guys that are, continuing to get better at that as well. The Detroit Lions did what every NFL team feared they would do, and they are now arguably the scariest team in the league. I think they're Super Bowl favorites, and I think that when you look at the schedule, which, by the way, next video is going to be a schedule prediction. When you look at that schedule, I think the Lions are looking at 10 to 12 wins. I think you can even say 13. I'm going to probably project 12 right now. Last year, I kind of started with 11 wins. I was like, okay, we'll go 11-6. And then I bumped it up to 12. I looked at that schedule and I was like, you know what? We're better than these teams, and I think that we're going to show up. We like showing up in prime time. We like showing up against the big, good teams. It's what we do. We gotta make sure we play up to our competition and above our competition, because you're playing teams like the Titans that aren't as good as us. We shouldn't be winning by just 7. We should be blowing them out. But it is the NFL. You got to remember that. So schedule prediction coming out soon. The Detroit Lions should be Super Bowl favorites because, man, they are arguably the scariest team in the NFL, and every NFL team should be scared of them after what they did this offseason. Appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you thought of the video and what you thought of the Lions offseason. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good one. Peace.